Looking at some MDF kits, I found a Normandy farmhouse that was very interesting. I had the materials already, so I thought I would attempt to build one myself. My first attempt was with foam core, but it was too thin and I quickly moved on to polystyrene. I am using the same design that I made with the foam core. With this material, I can cut it to the desired thickness needed for my walls. I am using 2 inches to 2.5 inches for my floor height. I am using a figure to gauge everything by eye. This is the basic shape of the building I am going for, to be able to film bolt action figures inside the house and from the outside. So it's not a typical build for gaming, but more for filming stop motion. I am using pins to mock the building together to see any errors or what to do next. By doing this, I caught a mistake with the chimney. I failed to make a backing for it as it extends past the roof. I'm using a Proxxon cutter to make all my cuts with this project. It's a must-have if you plan to use this material. The wooden device you see here is an add-on from Shifting Lands. I needed to reduce the thickness of the chimney. This is the attachment that comes with the machine. The type of cut will determine which attachment I will use. The result is the piece I needed for my project. We are moving on to the interior walls. I'm using my trusty Proxxon cutter. I believe I made the measurements 2 inches in height from my walls. Shown here is the floor plan I am going for. I am just test fitting the walls to see what I need to cut out. I am using cardstock as a base to mount the farmhouse, so I decided to cut my piece to get a better idea of the layout. I use a simple paper cutter to make my cuts. There is less error than using an X-Acto blade. This cutter will not cut all the way through though, so I simply just flip the card over and cut it again. At this time I do not own any bolt action figures, so I'm using this Warhammer 40K one to gauge the space needed to allow the figures to walk the exterior of the farmhouse. This allowed me to make my cuts with the cardstock for my base. This was my first floor plan. Can you see my error? The position of the chimney and the placement of the interior wall is incorrect. I still need to install the fireplace and the wall is in the way. I changed the floor plan to allow the fireplace to be installed correctly and added my second story floor as well. To simulate the wallpaper and painted walls, I'm using some artist paper from a sketchbook. Keep in mind that this step will warp the walls. Working in the foam, I can correct this when gluing it to its final position. At this stage, I added the battle damage to the interior walls. It makes it easier to add the damage while the paper is still wet slightly. It allows you to get some realistic tears in the paper to simulate that damage. This is what I've completed so far. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments section. I wanted to add a texture to the exterior walls and I wasn't sure what would work. I thought I would try this dollar store stuff. To save some time, I added some tan paint to the mixture. I tested it out on a smaller piece and I think it worked out well. I will add one layer and a second layer to hide some of the seams and pin marks. I went ahead and completed all the parts with this method. For the second coat, I added some HO train ballast to the mixture. I wanted to add some texture to the exterior walls. Once painted, we'll see if this was a good idea or not. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Once I add some foliage and some heavy weathering, I believe it will tie everything together. While these are drying, I went ahead off camera and painted the interior walls. I completed the interior walls and you may note the design has changed. For filming, the design was not going to work so well, so I decided to cut down the walls and make it fit better for my needs. I like how it came out, but I think I will get some MDF kits instead. This was a test to see if they would work out. They are nice and they will make great terrain for gaming, but for filming, not so good. Do believe when filming this is going to be very shaky, and when filming stop motion, that's not a good thing. I also was not pleased with the results of the exterior walls. I would try a different method next time. Since I'm not going to be using this for videos, I did not finish the windows. However, it does look really good and some weathering would make this look awesome. Using polystyrene or foam core, you can see you can make some nice terrain pieces. If you want to save some money, this is a good option, but they do take some time to build. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing and supporting my channel to help with more videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.